as the solemn procession of the late President MOI's remains through the streets of our nation's capital to lie in state at Parliament buildings, we commence the final journey of a great son of Kenya, a cherished brother, a loving father, a mentor to many, a father of our nation, a champion of Pan-Africanism, and the second president of the Republic of Kenya. Fellow Kenyans, the question that we should all ask ourselves is, how does one mourn an iconic leader? A leader who spent almost his entire life in the service of our nation, and whose story of heroism, sacrifice, and service began in the pre-independence era. How is a man who achieved so much more than is expected in a lifetime be celebrated? What would be a befitting send-off or a national honor for a man who built Kenya in large by the works of his hands? A man who, together with other iconic leaders, helped shepherd our country out of the shackles of colonial rule and into the freedom and self-determination of our modern independent state. How else can a grateful nation celebrate the life of a man whose calm and steady hand reassured a young nation and her allies during the peaceful transition into the second administration? Fellow Kenyans, the sun has set on a truly extraordinary man, a masterful yet thoughtful leader, a suave yet firm diplomat, one who served the nation with dignity and honor, one whose wisdom and diplomatic finesse kept Kenya both relevant and neutral, even as the whole world was in the grips of the Cold War. A passing cloud that served with distinction for 24 years. A decisive and courageous commander-in-chief of formidable achievements, who chose well and always put his country first. A balanced leader who, during the clamor for multipartyism, on listening to both sides, chose well, setting the stage for national rebirth through the introduction of multi-party politics. A tactful leader who, during the quest for a new constitutional order, listened and quietly chose what was best for our country. A visionary leader who, in 2002, when his party and I, as their candidate, lost the presidential election, left office with a gracious last word of advice to those who thereafter took up the heavy responsibilities that he had borne for a quarter of a century. Fellow Kenyans, today we celebrate the life of a patriot who, wherever in Kenya he found himself, he would calm fears and raise the hopes of everyone who heard him. No part of Kenya was strange to him, and nor were her citizens. Deep in his DNA, he understood and prized our culture and national character. To his last day in the office as president, he remained committed and ready to defend Africa and her people. He believed deeply that we had the answers to the questions that troubled our continent. Our nation is not alone in mourning the passing of President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. The whole of Africa is mourning with us. We continue to receive messages of sympathy and admiration for the life and service of Mzee Moi from around the world. We celebrate the life of a teacher who taught for life and a mentor to many, including myself. One whose ingenuity bequeathed our nation many, many projects. President Moi was a mortal man whose works and legacy will remain immortal. The Republic of Kenya, the community of East Africa, and the great continent of Africa bears his indelible mark, which I am convinced will endure long into the future. May Mzee Moi's memory live as long as our republic endures, and may we, to whom he has left the care of the republic, prove ourselves worthy of his bequest. We commit Mzee Moi's soul to the Almighty God, thanking the Creator for sending to us his servant, who after nearly a century of selfless and steadfast service now rests in his glory and his well-deserved reward. May God bless you all. May God bless our beloved Kenya, and may God bless Africa.
That is the head of state, President Uhuru Kenyatta, live from State House, Nairobi, where he actually has touched so much.